Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Glad you stopped in. If you didn't know, my name is Smitty, and let's see, what should we do today? Well, I'll tell you what we're doing today. I got to keep my fleet of cars on the road, and today we're working on Mama's car. She's got a 91 Toyota pickup. It's a sharp little truck, it really is. It's got the 22R in it. I think it's an RE because it's electronic. But anyway, so she had a brake locking up on this thing. And come to find out, the wheel cylinders were so rusty on the back that they had rusted in place and made the right rear wheel lock up. Not completely, but it was tough to drive. So anyway, I put, after some few choice words and a lot of rust and stuff like that, I got the wheel cylinders replaced. Now mind you, the body of this thing's perfect. I mean, there's not a speck of rust on the body on this thing. But the drivetrain, however, has seen its better days in some areas. It still runs good, don't get me wrong. But it really needs a frame off resto, but I don't have the money to do anything with that right now. But man, I'd love to. That'd just be so cool. Put a V8 in that dude. Oh yeah, that would be freaking cool. Find something out of like a 4.3 out of a GS or something like that. Those 4.3 run. But anyway, back to what we were doing. So I put these wheel cylinders on, get it bled out fine, and good pressure and everything. And she goes to drive this thing. She goes, well, the pedals still don't feel right. Says, what are you talking about? She goes, it's real spongy, and I don't have much for brakes. I'm afraid to drive it. I was like, well, okay, bring it back, and I'll look at it when I get off of work. So I get off of work, and I look at it, and sure enough, if it didn't blow one of the brake lines out. And here is the brake line. And it blew it out right behind this little bracket here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but I mean, that is just nothing but Rust City. There you go. It's just kind of flaking off, the coating's flaked off, and so anyway, I got to make a new brake line. Looks like it is inverted flare. Inverted flare obviously is because it's got the dip in the center and it presses on the outside. So I thought this would be a good time to demonstrate this tool that I've got that is the cat's meow for when it comes to flaring brake lines. You can't do a bad bad flare with this thing. It's pretty cool. Well worth the money that I spent for it by a long shot. Just makes it gravy. So we're gonna get some tools rounded up and we'll get this thing cut and get a line bent up, and we'll go from there. Alright y'all, so this brake line is 3/16, which most of your rear lines will be 3/16 on the rear. The one going back to the back can be either, depends on the manufacturer. Toyota uses 2 brake lines that goes to the rear for some reason, so they can split it up. But a lot of times your domestics will be a 1/4 inch line going to the back. Your fronts are usually 1/4 inch because they carry more fluid. Alright, so what we're going to do, we need to unwind some of this, and the best way to do it is lay it on the table and just kind of walk it out flat. Something like that. And then we don't know exactly how much we're going to need. What you can do is just kind of take a sum of your measurements. So say there you got 2 inches, you got 5, so that's 7, another 5, that's 12, another 4, 16, and say another, so roughly 18 inches. So just measure out 18 inches. That's going to be pretty close. It was actually 18 and a quarter. So if we wanted to get picky, we'd say 18 and a quarter. So let's mark that. Alright. Get you a tubing cutter. And you can buy this line already pre-made, obviously, at the store. The reason why I have this is I used to do so many brake lines when I had my shop. It was a common occurrence. So I always kept bulk line on hand. Because it's far cheaper in the long run to make your own line, especially when you got long runs, because I know you can get these in 25-foot rolls, and 25 foot is enough to pretty much go, well, maybe not with all the bends, but pretty close anyway, from the front of the vehicle to the back of most vehicle, and still have, left over. And this is that coated line too, so it's a little more difficult to cut. There we go. Alright, now get some fittings. You can buy these in assortments too. I think I got these from a van. You can buy them in bulk. That should be the right thread there. See if we got a... Okay, this is what they call... Well, that's a bubble flare. I don't know if I got any inverteds. Let's see what's in this one over here. Well, basically, this is 3/8 by 24, and that's what this bubble flare is too, is 3/8 by 24. However, I doubt the Toyota uses a 3/8 thread. So what we can do, we can check it. And no, it won't even go in there. So we know that that is a metric bubble. Which this looks like about right. It's 3/16 tube. I wonder if I've got a setting in this other box. Okay, so there it goes in that real nice and easy. This is a M10 by 1. So we can put that should go on there, and it does. Alright, so we know for sure it's an M10 by 1. So we're going to need 2 of these fittings. I wish I had some long ones, but I don't. But these will work nonetheless. So we'll use those fittings there, and they should work fine for our deal. You could always cut these off if you wanted to cut these fittings off of here. I just prefer to use new ones, being as the age of the line and everything, and the fittings. So alright. Now we're going to put these on here first, because we don't want to bend our line and then kind of hose ourselves, you know what I mean? And this stuff is this stuff is soft enough you can bend it with your fingers. Now, being as I've got this tight bend right here, I'm going to go ahead and make this flare on one side. And this is the tool I was talking about. It's a Matco, and I know that there's other companies that make this kit. AC 71475 is the part number for Matco. But this thing is the bomb, and man, look at that. Got all sorts of crystals on it. Interesting. Anyway, alright, so we're going to do 3/16 line. So you find your dies, which are up here. Right up there. That's 3/16 die. This is your ram. And the way you do this, you put these go in here. Oh, I forgot to show you. That side goes towards the ram. In other words, your ram is here. And they go in sideways. As your line comes in, this side here. Alright. And when you put your line in there, I lost one of my fittings. That doesn't matter. When you put your line in there, you want to put your line so it's level. I don't know if you can see that or not. Well, you can vaguely see it, I think. Yeah. You can see the center of the line there. It needs to be like flush or just barely above it. And then crank that down like that. All right. You got two different pieces here. This is your first one. That puts your first bend on it. So the way that goes, you stick that in there. And this thing will unthread and give you room to get your die in there. You want that nipple to go in that deal there, and then tighten it down kind of like that. And all you do is you close this valve here and squeeze away. Squeeze it until it stops. Back it off. Take your die out of there. And if you see the first part of it, you see it's got the first part of your double flare. So then you take your cone and you put it in there. Get it to where it's down in there. So you want it down in your flare that you just did. Turn your handle and squeeze away. You don't have to go very far with that one, just until you get some resistance on it. Then back it off. Take your cone out. Loosen your dies up. And there you have a flare. Just like that. There you go. Doesn't like to focus if it's too far away. There it goes. There's your double flare. So now we got that one done, we need to bend the rest of our pipe. So I just use the roll of my thumb and gently kind of form your line. I'd say that looks pretty dang close. I made it a little long, and that's alright. I mean, it doesn't have to be exact. But now that I know where it's got to be, I can cut off that excess. Alright, same procedure as before. Okay, make sure you put your fitting on before you do this line, or you're going to be hating life. You're going to have to make a whole new line. So anyway, same thing as before. Stick your dies in there. Like I said, needs to be, pretty much flush or just barely above it. Okay? Put your actual flare in there. Okay. Tighten up your handle and squeeze. Squeeze until it gets tight. And back off your ram. There's your first stage. Put your cone in there. Tighten your handle down. Close your valve and squeeze. Just until it gets tight. Open your valve up. Unscrew your ram. Take your cone out and do your dies, and there you go. Just like that. Makes a perfect flare every time. I mean, it's so repeatable. It does bubble flares too. It also has, if you guys do GM transmissions, it will do transmission cooler line fittings too. GM transmission cooler. That's what they look like on the inside. But That's it, guys and gals. I know there's some of you gals out there watching. And we have a replacement line made. Just like that. So I hope you all liked that little video. Just thought it would be something that you might be able to use, and some of the tools that I use in the trade. That flaring tool is worth its weight, especially when you do a lot of brake line. The only thing that's bad about it is it gets, when you start getting into tight spots, cumbersome. Eastwood makes a pretty good one too. I've seen it, and it doesn't look like too bad a tool. Of course, I've never used it, but at any rate, hope you liked the video. If you do, there's a little thumbs up button, like button down there. Smash that like button. Doesn't cost you a thing. Subscribe if you would. Share it with your friends. You know, make sure that they see it too. I greatly appreciate it, I really do. It helps me grow the channel. That being said, that'll be it for this video. So take care of yourself, take care of each other. God bless you, God bless America, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.